Bills fans, Josh Allen was ranked 35th all-time on the all-time QB list from Bleacher Report. James Cook was ranked 77th in the PFF Top 101 Players of 2025 list. The Bills have the chance to get Michael Pittman Jr. potentially, and also why Matt Milano should stick around in Buffalo next year and beyond. We're going to get into all that and more into this video. For Bills fans, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the Bills Roundtable channel for daily Buffalo Bills content. But let's get straight into it. Josh Allen was ranked 35th on the Bleacher Report top 99 QBs of all time list. Now let's see what they say about him. So his top accolades: one-time MVP, four-time Pro Bowler. Key stats: record 88 and 39, 69 winning percentage, which is one of the highest I've seen on this list. Passing yards over 30,000, 220 touchdowns to only 94 interceptions, a 64 completion percentage. You guys see what they have: 17 fourth quarter comebacks, of course, from number 17, and then 25 game-winning drives for Josh Allen. Now, what do they say about him? At 6'5", 237 pounds with a strong arm, Josh Allen is taking the baton from Cam Newton as the NFL's Superman quarterback, which is very true. For 4 consecutive seasons from 2021 to 2024, the Buffalo Bills have fielded top 9 passing and rushing attacks with a big body dual threat signal caller at the helm. They also are going to mention how his numbers are kind of video game-like, how though Allen has yet to earn an All-Pro nod, which is ridiculous, by the way. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler with the gaudy numbers in those standout campaigns. He's also won the 2024 MVP award in a year when he finished with a league-leading 74.8 QBR. Allen's performances aren't all flash and highlights, though. He's become a more efficient passer with a declining interception rate and rising completion percentage. The 8th-year veteran completed a career high in the 69.3% of his passes in 2025. And if Allen's body holds up, he's on track to be a Hall of Famer. Now, everything that they said right there is true, and Josh Allen, in my opinion, should have been ranked a lot higher on this list. And we're going to get into some of these names that are above him as to why Josh Allen should be ranked higher. He is a Buffalo legend, which should also be taken into account. And also, if it weren't for such bad defenses, the Buffalo Bills would have won a Super Bowl by now. Every single year in the playoffs, Josh Allen performs at his best level, aside from maybe last season. The defense is the one that always holds him back. Now, some of these names above him: Sammy Ball, Joe Namath, which I don't know how they got Joe Namath to be a better player than Josh Allen all the time. I understand the Super Bowl MVP. I understand the Super Bowl, but that was in like the 1960s. He had more losses in his career than wins. He had 50 more interceptions than he had touchdowns and a 50 completion percentage. I don't get it. He also had less fourth quarter comebacks and game-winning drives than Josh Allen already has over the course of his career. I don't get why he's above him. Philip Rivers, he's an NFL legend. I'm not going to disrespect him. He's a phenomenal player. He's a Hall of Famer. Sid Luckman, I mean, I don't know much about him, in all honesty, but his stats aren't much better. But the real 2 names I wanted to get to are going to be number 28, and that is Lamar Jackson. So Lamar Jackson, I understand. He has 1 more MVP. He has 3 All-Pro nods. His accolades are better than Josh Allen. But when you just take a look at the film, Josh Allen has been a better player in his career compared to Lamar Jackson up until this point. Debate a wall. Josh Allen has been better than Lamar Jackson. And there's no reason why Lamar Jackson should be 7 spots higher than Josh Allen. But the real kind of head scratcher for me, we're going to go to number 22. And I'm not going to disrespect a Buffalo Bills legend. However, I'm just going to point out that at number 22, they have Jim Kelly. Now, Jim Kelly got to Super Bowl 4 times with the Buffalo Bills. That is a fact. But I think it's also a fact that Bills fans know, and I think NFL fans know, Josh Allen is a better quarterback all time than Jim Kelly was. And Josh Allen had surpassed him in just 8-9 seasons, and we could honestly argue that he passed him 2 or 3 years ago. Josh Allen is a better quarterback than Jim Kelly ever was. With all due respect to the legend Jim Kelly, Josh Allen is one of the best quarterbacks the NFL has ever seen, and there's no reason for Jim Kelly to be so high above Josh Allen. So, Bills fans, do you think that the 35 ranking for Josh Allen is fair, or should he be moved up a lot higher? Now, for more disrespect to Buffalo Bills players, PFF dropped their top 101 players of 2025 list, and they aren't done. They're only at number 41, but coming in at number 77 was James Cook. Now, you would think, all right, as long as he's the top rated running back, then it's fine. But no, James Cook last year led the league in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns, but yet he is the 3rd highest running back rated on this PFF list. I'll scroll down just a little bit so you guys can see the 2 players ahead of him at the running back position. The first guy is going to be scroll down even more right here. Jeez, I didn't realize how high up these running backs were compared to him. They have Christian McCaffrey 23 spots ahead of James Cook. And in this description, they said if we were looking at McCaffrey just as a runner, he likely wouldn't have made the list. He earned just a 66.3 PFF rushing grade, 60th among running backs. However, he did have 1,000 receiving yards in the regular season and playoffs, which is a valid argument. But when you take a look at the running back position as a whole, James Cook was literally the best at every statistic, and you have Christian McCaffrey ahead of him just because of his receiving ability. Now, if you were going to make a list on best receiving backs, I understand if James Cook isn't in your top, 3, 5. But the fact that you were just rating these players as a whole, you cannot have the number one running back statistically below two other guys. I'll get to the second guy in just a moment right here. It's going to be Jahmyr Gibbs coming in at number 47. Gibbs, 85.6 PFF grade, ranked 6th among running backs, and he logged PFF grades above 80 both as a runner and a receiver. Now, Jahmyr Gibbs, phenomenal player. I absolutely love him. I think he's a great player. But when you're going to rank Jahmyr Gibbs literally 30 spots higher than James Cook, I can't take this list serious. You can say that Jahmyr Gibbs is better, which I disagree with. You say that Christian McCaffrey is better at this point in his career than James Cook, which I would also disagree with. But if you're going to say that James Cook is 23 spots below Christian McCaffrey and 30 spots below Jahmyr Gibbs, I can't take you seriously. And another player that I want to point out on this list that was above James Cook is coming in at number 64, the Buffalo Bills' own Gregory Rousseau. Now, Bills fans, Gregory Rousseau at the end of the year, he really picked it up. He was a very solid player for the Buffalo Bills last year towards the end of the season. But would you say that Gregory Rousseau was a better edge defender than James Cook was a running back? I don't think you'd say that. I think that James Cook was a better player than Gregory Rousseau last year, and Gregory Rousseau was 13 spots above James Cook. Make it make sense, PFF. I don't get it. But next up, is it possible that Michael Pittman Jr. could be making his way to the Buffalo Bills? Let's get into the reasons really quick. So the Indianapolis Colts, let's face it, they're going to have to pay Daniel Jones if they want to keep him around. And in order to pay Daniel Jones, they're going to probably have to give him probably $30 to $40 million a season. And as you see right here, the Colts, they have $35 million. They could sign Daniel Jones. But that's about it. Now, I do have Michael Pittman Jr., who's been a great player for them. They can release him and free up literally $24 million. Why would the Colts not do that? He's an aging receiver, and the fact of the matter is, while they were 8-1 to start the year last year, they completely fizzled out after the Daniel Jones injury and went 8-9. They don't have their own first-round picks, and at this point, you just have to get younger and hope that your younger guys can develop, and hope that the trade for Sauce Gardner doesn't become a complete bust of a trade. We'll take a look at Michael Pittman Jr.'s stats last season. He had 80 receptions for 784 yards and 7 receiving touchdowns. And ladies and gentlemen, look at these stats. Only 4 drops on the season for Michael Pittman Jr., so he has phenomenal hands. 9.8 yards per reception, and his average depth of the target was 8.4 yards, which is a little bit lower than I would have hoped for. And I hope that if the Buffalo Bills do end up picking him up, if the Colts do move on from him, then I would hope that it is a little bit more than that. Michael Pittman Jr. would pose an immediate deep threat to his Buffalo Bills offense, who'd slide in as the X receiver, be your number one wide receiver by far. Let's take a look at what the Buffalo Bills wide receiver depth chart could look like with Michael Pittman Jr. So when you look at the wide receiver depth chart, we're just gonna try to ignore some of these guys. So Curtis Samuel, he's gone. Gabe Davis, he's gonna be gone. He tore every ligament in his knee. But if we saw Michael Pittman Jr., our receiver room would look like Khalil Shakir, Josh Palmer, Michael Pittman Jr. as the top 3. If we bring back Brandon Cooks, that's a solid top 4. You have Keon Coleman at the 5. But what you could also do is you could draft a guy like KC Concepcion in the first round. You could draft a guy like Denzel Boston. You could draft a Ted Hurst later in the draft. And if you get Michael Pittman Jr. and a young guy, I honestly really like where our wide receiver room would stand. You would have Michael Pittman Jr. as wide receiver 1, Khalil Shakir, who would have more room to operate with a true wide receiver 1 on the field, taking gravity away from Shakir. You also have Josh Palmer, who was solid when healthy last year. It looks like it's going to be another bust of a wide receiver signing from Brandon Beane, but I think if he is healthy, he could still provide some value for us. Brandon Cooks was phenomenal for us in limited opportunities last year when we got him in week 13. So Bills fans, I think if we can get a Michael Pittman Jr., our wide receiver room immediately looks a lot better. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Would you want the Bills to pick up Michael Pittman Jr.? Now, before we get into our last topic of why Matt Milano should stick around with the Buffalo Bills, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss another Buffalo Bills video. Let's get right into why Matt Milano should be sticking around in Buffalo in 2026. So the fact of the matter is, Sean McDermott's gone. This is going to be a whole new regime on defense. So it just make all too much sense to move on from Matt Milano. But the fact is, he should be staying around. And the reason is, we need some sort of continuity on this defense at the middle line or at the linebacker level. Matt Milano is going to be a veteran in the room, kind of helping guys shift from that 4-3 defense to that 3-4 defense. And why do I think that he would fit in super well in a 3-4 defense, despite the fact that he has kind of gotten worse as the years go on? But we'll show you exactly why. When you look down the stretch, when he started to get healthy, 1 pressure week 14, 2 pressures week 15, 3 pressures week 16, 3 pressures week 17, none in the wild card round. We had a phenomenal game in coverage, and he had 2 more pressures in the divisional round against the Denver Broncos. Matt Milano brings an aggressiveness to this defense that we're going to be demanding in a Jim Leonard style defense. And Matt Milano, he's phenomenal at bringing pressure. He can make big hits. He can make a big play when you need him to. When you look at his season stats, so in 2022, his last year where he was really fully healthy, playing every single down of the game, he had 24 pressures. The year before that, 16. The year before that, in just half the snaps, he had 20 pressures, 19 pressures in 2019, and 12 in 2018. Matt Milano can bring pressure. He has juice on defense. He would fit in an aggressive 3-4 scheme very, very well. He can definitely rush the passer. I think that Matt Milano, I think Bills fans are quick to move on from him just because of his age. I think he would provide a real value to this Bills defense if he could be that kind of hybrid linebacker, rushing the passer, and also dropping back into coverage where he still has value. The Bills fans, in this video, we went over the disrespect to both Josh Allen and James Cook on their respective lists that they were ranked low on. We also went over the potential signing of Michael Pittman Jr. if he is released by the Indianapolis Colts. And we also went over why Matt Milano should stay in Buffalo. Let me know your thoughts on all these points I made in this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.